All right, my friends, this week on Prof and Dev Play Games, we are guessing who's going to win the Game Awards. Stay tuned. All right, my friends, welcome to episode 456 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky. Over there is Anthony, the dev at Summerspeak on Blue Sky. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Isn't it crazy? Blue Sky is just popping off.
Blue Sky has got a lot of shit happening now.
I love it.
It's really cool now, yeah.
And it's all my game dev people I followed and authors that I followed, they're all there now, and I'm like, this is what I want.
Exactly. Thank God.
Yeah, and it's just I've realized now, I'm like, oh yeah, the feed just shows you posts or reposts from people you follow. You don't see the stuff that they like. It's very refined compared to other social media right now. So
yeah, the algorithm's not showing me a bunch of hate speech.
No, there's because there's no real algorithm to it. It's
exactly
just
right.
If you follow these people, you want to see what they post.
Yep.
And that is correct. I don't want to see what other people post. I want to see there's a reason I follow these people.
Mm-hmm. It is quite nice.
Yeah.
Well, and the right wing is like, oh, it's an echo chamber. It's like, what do you think Fox News is? What do you think you made Twitter into? You guys love right wing echo chambers. Although I'm realizing more and more now. I mean, obviously, outrage is a grift, yada yada. But they need the left wing people to bounce against and make comments against for their fucking likes and clout and whatever else. And now that most people are leaving, they're like, we don't have anything now. They're fucking fighting each other at this point.
I will, on our podcast, rep a video that Hank Green put up. He's also very active now on Blue Sky.
Yeah, I've seen him a lot.
Which is great. But he made a video, it's like a half an hour. The internet is a machine that devours trust.
Yeah, Jesus. That's
and
right.
It's the subtitle of it is Populism, Media Revolutions, and Our Terrible Moment. And it touches on the historical past of when there's been media revolutions all the way back to the printing press. And how that history, we can learn from it and what is happening now in a lot of ways.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm going to check it out.
It's a fascinating video. And just what I would expect out of a Hank video. Well researched, pretty succinct and eloquently spoken. About 30 minutes. Interesting to read, to listen about and be like, yeah, okay. Can we move past this moment quicker, please?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
all I ask.
That's right. Revolutions take time.
Yeah, kind of.
Sometimes they just happen in a minute, in a moment too. So
Yeah.
We'll see, man.
But
well, that's cool, man. But yeah, Blue Sky is popping, which is great.
Yeah, makes me happy. I can actually feel like I'm following my peers again, which is nice.
Well, I found some pretty cool podcasts already. Things that didn't surface to me. I mean, I don't really use social media until now. I haven't used it for a long time. So it's cool to actually see art surfacing and interesting, commentary around what people are reading or what people are watching.
Yep.
There's still some dumb stuff thing that drives me the most nuts is people see some person who's spewing hate and they screenshot it and put it in their feed. Block this person with the hate speech that the person said. It's like, dude, I don't want that in my feed.
Yeah.
Don't show me that shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, it's cool to see art surfacing and people having nice discussions about art instead of it being some sort of signpost for some sort of political agenda. It's just here's art, here's some good art.
Yeah, and that's what I've been particularly happy about. And actually, I reposted somebody hosted something like the Blue Sky is an echo chamber think pieces that keep popping up really tickle me because they show how certain people genuinely believe social media should be for debating and arguing and not talking about things that make you happy and sharing art with the world.
Exactly right.
And I'm like, it can be fine if you want to use it for debating. I would argue that debating on social media is a terrible place to do it. But if that's really your jam and want to be in it, fine. But an echo chamber is not somebody when you're like, no, I just get to see the things that I'm like actually bring me joy. I can see my peers making things and posting art and what they craft and make, and it's incredible and inspiring. It doesn't always have to be about destructive forces.
It's amazing how Blue Sky being in the right place, right time. I mean, it's been out, we've been on there for a while, but nothing's been.
It survived, basically.
Exactly.
It was there. It's their right place, right time, more than that. It launched and it just kind of stayed its course, biding its time for when one of these other social media platforms would implode, Twitter.
Yep.
But everything's pretty fickle in that way overall. So
yeah, that's right. Well, that's cool.
But other fickle things is Game Awards.
Oh boy, and the debates around those categories.
Blah, blah, blah.
We'll get to that later, I'm sure. We're going to start with the less controversial stuff. So every year we like to go through the categories and say what the things that are nominated, and then give our thoughts on who's going to win and have a nice conversation. This is I look forward to this time of year around games time. About games, I mean, this time of year about games. So we're going to start at the bottom of the list and work our way up. So we're going to start with, we're going to skip esports because we don't know much about esports or content creators. And start with most anticipated game. So let's go back and forth. I'll start with this one. You do the next one. Yada, yada.
Okay.
Most anticipated game, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Really? Ghosts of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4, Beyond. I don't know if I saw this game before. Wow. Yep. And then Monster Hunter Wilds. All right, Anthony, what do you think?
Oh, it's GTA 6.
I think so too.
I mean, that wins the category. Does it deserve it or not? I mean, it's most anticipated. You can have the little text of like recognizes an announced game thing. No, it's what people are most excited for. GTA 5 makes more money in itself than a huge chunk of the video game industry. So it has an audience, and its audience is very excited for whatever's next. And oh boy, the team making that game, expectations are probably insane. Good luck.
For sure. Yep. We'll see if it even comes out next year.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if it's next year.
They narrowed it to fall 2025. I'm like, yeah, good luck. We'll see. Cool. So
I think the rest of them are fine. All things that people probably are excited for, just not as earth-shattering as GTA series is now when they get a new game.
The one that stands out to me is Death Stranding 2. Was this a Keeley pick? This is voted on by a jury, or not voted on by a jury, but like it's the outlets that are choosing this, right? Or
yes.
Is this? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess
it sounds like Keeley. I mean, he put I saw a brief thing whenever he was announcing things. He set a disclaimer a couple times of being like, he has no say in this.
Right, and I knew that for all the other categories. I was just curious if this one he had any say in. But
I think the whole thing. He just doesn't get a say. He just removes himself from the nominee process, which is the right way to go.
Absolutely. Yep.
So yeah. Next category, best adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. And we have Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. One of these I had to look up because I'm like, really? There's that? Which was Tomb Raider. I didn't realize it had an anime.
Isn't that amazing how it came out in like the last month or so, month and a half maybe?
And I had no clue.
Exactly. Like I didn't feel like there was much fanfare around it.
I know Like a Dragon Yakuza on Amazon is supposedly terrible.
Yep, I've heard that too.
My friend who loves the Like a Dragon series was like, yeah, it's bad.
Wow.
So I'll take that. Knuckles I heard tangentially about, but that's about it.
I heard it's
People-
mostly Knuckles does not feature in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mostly live
that's
action
a
with a little
choice.
Knuckles. Yeah.
Fallout watched, loved it. Arcane, is this for season 2?
I believe so, yeah.
I haven't watched season 2.
Me
The
either.
first season was good. Still League of Legends, which is so weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
But from the hype that I've heard of season 2, I bet Arcane wins this.
Yeah, and it's like recency bias too, really. You know, it's been
I would probably go with Fallout. I really enjoyed Fallout a lot. Either way, Ella Purnell wins. So, you know.
Is she a voice in Arcane?
Yeah, she is one of the main characters.
Shit. She Jinx?
She is yeah, she's Jinx.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, she wins either way because I think it's Arcane or Fallout. I hope it's Fallout. I think Fallout was such a good adaptation, which is funny because it's the same. I mean, I'm not gonna say the same, but Amazon MGM Studios for that and Yakuza, but they couldn't have been received more differently.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's Amazon's the money, but different production companies making them. They bought them, but they. However, that stupid Hollywood stuff works. So it looks like Sega was very involved in Like a Dragon. So who knows? But I think Arcane wins this. But Fallout would be my pick.
I'm gonna say Fallout wins this one.
Okay.
I think there was enough huge critical love for this. And Arcane won last time it got up on this one, I believe. So
it did.
Maybe. So moving on to best multiplayer. This one's interesting. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We've got Helldivers 2. We've got Mario Party Jamboree. We have Tekken 8, and then we have Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
I don't think it's Space Marine.
I don't think so either. I know that you can play as a trio. I don't think of that as primarily a multiplayer game, but that's only because I played it single player. So
sure.
I think it's Helldivers. I think Helldivers wins this one.
I would vote for Helldivers. I would really like to see Helldivers win over Call of Duty.
Yeah, me too.
And I think when I think of gameplay and design as a whole there, Helldivers wins, hands down. Like it actually has interesting multiplayer design and choices on their whole, honestly, the whole meta of the game, the shifting kind of narratives and planets and tactical map, like the whole bunch of just cool stuff that they're doing. That none of these other games are really doing. So I feel like it deserves just because it's pushing the co-op multiplayer forward with new mechanics and everything. So,
well, and so much of the fun of that game was doing it multiplayer and just the fucking hijinks that ensued. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think it's a technical feat that Mario Party Jamboree works so well online. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to it that it's even here. People have been enjoying that, so that's cool. But it's Helldivers 2 by a mile in my view. We'll see if it can defeat the juggernaut of Black Ops 6.
Yeah, that's the hard one. I think I'd be interested because like 10% of the vote is
people voting,
public voting, and I'm like, I feel like they might go for Helldivers.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in a good place.
Yeah,
it came out in February, I think. So maintaining that throughout the year is always tough. That energy, but
next category is best sports and racing. I will have really almost no opinion here. We have F1 24, we have EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Topspin 2K25, and WWE 2K24. I'll just go with WWE 2K24 because it's very not serious compared to the other ones.
I would vote for that one too, actually. And I think the FC 25 and NBA K25 are pretty good this year. I've only played NBA 25 or 2K25, not FC, but 2K24 really is a step up from the previous one, and I think also with how many people are into the recent storylines around Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, a lot of people were into this, so I could see that one winning. But I do have an opinion about this category. Why the fuck
Okay.
is Top Spin here, and why the fuck is college football not here?
I was wondering about that actually, with how well college football was received.
The reviews and the discussion around it was that it was kind of feature poor. It didn't have a ton of stuff. But Top Spin 25 doesn't either. So I'm so surprised to see that here. But, people voted for it.
It has a worse Metacritic.
College football does?
No.
Yeah.
Top Spin.
Yeah, right.
That is weird.
It was not received well. I'm really surprised. But I think it's the first. I mean, it's the same thing about college football, but first time that Top Spin's been back in quite a while, as far as I know. But it's college football, same thing. So I don't know.
Weird.
Really, really surprised to not see college football here. But yeah, I think WWE 2K24. That's my vote.
All right. Well, I made a non-educated vote on it. So
I made which one did I play that I had most fun with? And that was WWE. So next, best sim and strategy. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kinisugami Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, or Unicorn Overlord. What do you think?
I know where I'd go.
Me too.
I mean, there's only two that I would debate here for myself. I'd go with Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, me too. I know Kinisugami was
it's
really
cool.
neat. Yeah,
it's a cool game. I think Unicorn Overlord is the fuller package of a game. But I'm happy to see Kinisugami get a nod for nomination at all.
Yeah.
Like, that is a weird game, and I'm happy it's at least getting a little bit of recognition there on, like, hey, Capcom went wild and made a weird thing.
Made this weird, wild AA thing.
Yeah. But Unicorn Overlord in a lot of ways feels like that was Vanillaware's fantasy opus, really. Yep. Which reminds me, I should just beat it at this point. I never beat it.
I need to crack open. I played the demo. It was like 8 hours or whatever. And I was like, and then I have the disc. Or the cartridge. I'll put it in. I'm like, I don't want to open the collector's edition. I'm like, I should just open it. Just fucking open it and get the thing out.
Yeah, it's a really pretty collector's edition.
Yeah, it looks like it's cool. I should open it and look at it. Age of Mythology is the people who split off from Civ, right? Are they former Civ devs? Do I have that right?
Oh, it's a long time ago. Age of Mythology was originally an old 2002 Microsoft Ensemble Studios made it. Who'd they come from?
Interesting.
Like, this is a remake. Did I play Age of Mythology? I played Age of Empires 1 and 2. And then Age of Mythology was a spin-off from those games.
Remaster. I thought it was a brand new game. Jesus.
No, it's a remaster of a beloved RTS game.
Interesting. Okay.
Where it's mythology and you have gods you can call down to like the Greek and Roman gods and Egyptian gods and all that stuff. Who is the founder? Ensemble? I don't know. Ensemble seems like it was just kind of, it was a mid-90s studio that formed. They didn't come from the Civ.
Oh, at all. They're former Civ. That's interesting.
No, I mean, there might be people there that, because the strategy side of the North American video game industry is not the biggest, so it wouldn't surprise me if people went between the two, but no. The company developed its own management. No mention of any Civ people.
For some reason, I thought Manor Lords was early access, but it must have been a 1.0.
It's not?
I don't know. I thought it was, but it's here, and I thought it wouldn't be nominated unless it was a 1.0. I guess there's maybe not a rule about that, but
No, it's an early access game right now.
that's what I thought. Okay. Huh. So lots of stuff going on.
Why is it here then?
Uh-huh.
And other early access not.
Right.
As we go forward.
Exactly.
Like, where's Hades 2?
Where's Hades 2? Exactly. Well, and again, it's the outlets that are nominating, so they certainly could have, I guess, if this is here as early access. So
I would probably put a rule down that you shouldn't be able to nominate early access, honestly, but that's on them.
I've thought about that for a while. I'm like, oh, if it's out, you should be able to nominate it. But then you have the thing where if it's such a great game and it gets nominated and wins as early access, it will likely get nominated and win as a 1.0. So I can see that kind of sucking. So
yeah. And me as a developer, I'm just like, no, nominate it when people finish their product.
Yeah.
Like, that's an important step, is to actually like not just release into early access. It's actually to be like, no, this is the complete bit that I'm releasing right now.
Well, that's a good point too, because if it gets branded as like Game Award winning and it's not done yet, then a year later it's done and it's like worse. Like, whoops.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I really have to say about any of that. So next up will be Best Family. I'm being distracted by a cat that's decided to meow at me. I don't know why. She's now wandered off. But Best Family Game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, which is typically the Nintendo category. But this year we got a couple non-Nintendo things as well. We have Astro Bot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. Yay, Devolver.
Yes.
Go
nice
team. Oh.
Well, I have some thoughts from my family.
I'm sure you do have some thoughts.
I had my daughter weigh on a couple categories. This is one of them. And she had a hard time choosing because she's played 4 out of 5 of these. She has had a good time with all 4 of them. Only one she hasn't played is Plucky Squire. But then my wife weighed in. She's like, well, if this is a family category, Astrobot's the only one really that all 3 of us have played and had equally a really great time with. So we all voted for Astrobot here because of how much fun we had with it as a family. And also I noted that my daughter was looking forward to 3 games this fall, Astrobot, Echoes of Wisdom, and Lego Horizon. And of those 3, Astrobot is the only one that as soon as she started playing, she could not stop. She wanted to continue playing the game until she was done. Whereas Echoes of Wisdom and Lego Horizon and others, she's kind of bouncing between. She's cycling through them. But Astrobot, she stuck with. And then tonight I was like, well, we should have some family gaming tonight. Let's load up the speed levels. And we watched Mom play one speed level for like 45 minutes. Get marginally better as she went through and almost beat it several times, but didn't quite get there. And then got tired. So yeah, for us, it's Astrobot by a mile.
Yeah, and I haven't played Astrobot.
Oh God, man. I don't know. I keep asking. I keep forgetting. I know that you play platformers, but it's not your like favorite genre. But
not my favorite thing.
You like them though, right?
To a point. I don't really hunt them out. Really, like Astrobot's one is like, sure, I should play this at some point. But does it ever rise to the top of the other games? Usually not.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Platformers are fine for me. I mean, I watched a huge number of levels of Astrobot, and it's very clever. Like, just watching it, the mechanics were really, really neat. It's a Mario game that's not Mario.
Oh God!
Like it's Nintendo quality platformer.
Yes. Absolutely.
That just you could strip away all the Sony stuff from it, and it would still just be a good game. Like it has very well crafted mechanics and levels and pacing to how mechanics are thrown at you and then reused. Like I appreciate it for all of that. So I don't really have a great way to weigh in here, but I think this Astrobot probably wins this category, but Echoes of Wisdom gives it a bit of a run for its money.
I think those are the top 2 on this one as well. Although great Again, I didn't play Plucky Squire, but otherwise, like, great nominees here. Moving on to the next one, we got Best Fighting Game. We have Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I didn't realize was developed by Spike Chunsoft. That's interesting. We have Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising by Arc System Works. We've got Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, which surprises me. We have Multiverses again, which won this category several years ago before it was taken offline. And then we got Tekken 8. So Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection is interesting because they're all old games. Repackaged.
They are old games, and they're very good old games.
They are. Yeah.
I think it's either that winning or Tekken 8 winning.
I think it's Tekken 8. I think Tekken 8 had a huge buzz this year.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where they're putting the arcade classic there. I'm like, everything I've seen, the arcade classics did not screw up any of the MVC games. They had a great like online multiplayer, the whole thing. It's just like, but those are already really good games. We know this.
Yes, exactly.
They're not new. That's the thing.
Right, they're not remastered in any way like Silent Hill 2.
That's because no one wanted that.
Yes, like, no, right, exactly. That is correct.
Weirdly, with fighting games, not weird. People want them to be exactly as they remember them.
Yep.
So that's kind of a feat in itself, but I think Tekken 8 takes this overall. And were you talking about Dragon Ball with the Spike Chunsoft because of the Sony acquisition potential?
No, actually, I was just thinking about it because I'm put a little bit of time into Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, and I had not realized until playing that the Spike Chunsoft developed the first 5 Dragon Quests. They were just published by Enix. That was news to me this week or last week.
Yeah, and they're owned by Kadokawa.
The one that Sony's in talks of buying out. Yep.
Yeah, they're another sub company of that $1 billion conglomerate.
That'd be a good pickup for Sony Corp, that's for sure.
Yeah, Sony Corp as a whole is that actually happens. That is quite the media empire they're building in Japan.
Yep, totally.
But yeah, it's Tekken in the end.
Yeah, I think so too.
Where do we go now? Ooh, this category. Best RPG. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. We have Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Refantazio. Some
real heavy hitters in this category.
Yeah. And this was also the first of, I think, some contentious category. Yes. I've heard online lots of discussion around this category specifically, some too.
Interesting.
Mostly because does Shadow of the Erdtree deserve to be here or not? That is a conversation that I've heard consistently.
Yep.
And then if Rebirth should be here or
not. Rebirth?
Yep.
Because it's a remake?
Yeah, kind of. I've heard that. I've heard some of that. That's the one I'm like, I don't know. It's so different than the other ones, than the original, and it really is its own thing. So that one holds. I don't know how I feel about sitting on it for a while and listening to conversations about expansions being included. How should I say this? Non-standalone expansions.
Right.
If Shadow of the Erdtree was just a standalone thing you could play on its own, great. And I know years ago I said this in our Discord, it was whatever the final Witcher 3 expansion was.
Yeah, 2017, I think.
It was great, but it felt more standalone. Like it was its own separate game. You didn't even have to play the base game to play that expansion. It was like, no, we're just giving you another chunk of game using our engine. And you can't do Shadow of the Erdtree like that.
Well, and you can't even get into Shadow of the Erdtree unless you do that special thing that you don't even need to do to beat the actual base game. You know, it's crazy. I personally, I don't have an opinion on this too strongly. I think mostly I land on if it was a game that came out in the year and you could play it, then it's eligible. But you could play it is the problem, because not everyone could if they didn't get to that point and do that thing.
I don't know. It just mostly means to me, I'm like, I feel like they should have an expansion or DLC category.
They should. I mean, I bet you they will next year.
I don't understand why they haven't had that already. Like, there are such good expansion content is made over the year for a lot of really good games. It's like, why don't they get their due? It could be Shadow of the Erdtree just stomps all of it, but still, a lot of people put out high quality updates to their games. Not Astroneer just did. Not that necessarily would be nominated, but still, it's like, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It becomes a really like fuzzy line on when an expansion should just be into main categories. And I kind of just would not like to have that line. Just be a little more strict.
Yeah.
Give other games that might be missing here nods. So
yeah, I've got something to say about that in a different category.
I think there's a number of categories kind of going that way. But for what's here, for me, it's either Rebirth or Fantasio. And I think it's Metaphor for me.
And I agree. And that's why I think the whole conversation about what should be here and what shouldn't is probably going to be moot on this category, because I think it's going to be Metaphor, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think the way that took people, the way that the story took people, the way that it built on the Persona formula and arguably did it better. I think it just stands out to me from these ones as something very different and pushing things forward.
Yeah.
I would have liked to say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but Chapter 8 makes me want to throw my TV through a window. So.
You're a gold saucer.
Oh my God. I got through the mini games, but now I'm at the point where like you're hunting down it's not Barrett, it's Barrett's friend, the person with the gun who did the murder. You got 24 hours to figure it out or whatever. And it's like, this is just ground to a halt. This fucking game. I hate this
and guess shortly after where I stopped.
Oh, that would not surprise me at all.
Like I got through all the stuff that you're doing and a little bit further than all of that stuff. And then I was just like, oh, I'm having motivation to keep you guys real low right now.
Exactly. I mean, my family was gone today, so I had like 3 solid hours to play. I was like, what do I want to play? I want to get further in this. And it's like, wow, I spent 2.5 hours doing this awful. Like, I didn't have fun doing that. Ugh, terrible.
Yeah.
But the rest of it's been good, so.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I think Metaphor, you think Metaphor? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, at least that's what I want.
Next one, Best Action Adventure. For the Best Action Adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, we've got Astro Bot, we've got Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, we've got Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Whew, there are 3
One
on
of these
here.
is not like the other.
It's are you thinking Silent Hill 2?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking Star Wars Outlaws. Silent Hill 2 I've heard very good things about, and I don't know a better category that it would fit in.
No, it fits perfectly here, I think, with the puzzles.
Yeah.
Specifically.
I mean, was Alan Wake 2 in this category a year ago? It should have been.
I can't remember.
I'd have to check. But I mean, I see Silent Hill 2. I'm like, yeah, okay. I haven't played it, but it's horror action adventure.
Right.
But Outlaws, I'm like, why is Outlaws here?
We needed a 5th game.
I guess so, and there wasn't anything else there.
Yeah. I have a hard time here because there are 3. I mean, I think Astro Bot's going to sweep.
I think it is as well.
So I think it's going to take this one. I think I would probably want Zelda here. I feel like, well, it probably wouldn't be actually, because the combat is really part of the puzzle solving where you're using the echoes. Yeah. So Prince of Persia: Lost Crown stands out then. It's so good at
there's definitely a part of me that wonders if this category doesn't go to Astro Bot and they give it to one of the others, then Astro Bot's gonna win like game of the year.
Yeah. I can see that. enough people saying I'm going to vote for Astro Bot for Game of the Year, so I'm going to give someone else their flowers here. Honestly, the Lost Crown deserves it. Of these
Lost
ones.
Crown is very good.
Yeah.
Wish it was sold better.
I know. Fuck Ubisoft. And they're finally figuring out they delayed Shadows so they can put Shadows out on Steam day and date. I think that would have helped Lost Crown massively, and it sucks because that mismanagement means we're not going to get a sequel to that game. And that game is fucking rad. So, ugh, Ubisoft.
So that was best action adventure, and then we just get best action game. For the best game in the action genre focused primarily on com, we have a Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2.
A lot of good choices for that specific action genre focused primarily on combat. Stellar Blade comes to mind immediately, but I feel like a lot of people who didn't like other aspects of Black Myth Wukong liked the combat in Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
So, God, I don't know. But also Black Ops 6, the campaign is standing up really well.
Supposedly, yeah. And a good Call of Duty campaign is pretty damn good action, I will say.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think Helldivers 2 wins here.
I don't either.
It could be 40k. Well, maybe. 40k has a very old school action feel. I don't know what I'd vote for here. I've only actually played Helldivers 2. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if like Wukong won this.
Yeah, I think Wukong is going to win this one. I've played Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer. If I were to choose one, I would want to choose Stellar Blade. But I think Black Myth Wukong has a chance here.
Yeah.
Next one is Best VR AR. Best game available, playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform.
I have no way to know any of these.
Yeah, exactly. Just based on...
So,
I will read them.
Sorry to interrupt. You can read them out, but I'm like...
No, that's okay. Yeah. Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and then Metro Awakening. Yeah, I don't know. Based on reception, I would probably lean towards Asgard's Wrath 2. But yeah, it could be any of these.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I didn't realize Camouflage worked on Batman.
Yeah, they were the main studio on it.
All right.
Isn't that cool? Your former colleague, right?
College.
Yeah, that's right. Ryan Payton.
Acquaintance, yeah. Yeah. So, they made the Iron Man game as well a few years ago.
Yeah.
They've kind of shifted over. I wonder, did they get
Oculus bought them?
Oculus? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bought them.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. Asgard's Wrath 2 is one I do remember getting a lot of buzz.
We got 10 out of 10 from IGN.
Yeah.
It was kind of like not the first, but like a really decent full-fledged fantasy RPG in VR. Yeah. I know that Batman Arkham Shadow reviewed really well as well. Thinking about Asgard's Wrath and Batman, they're both locked to MetaQuest. But I guess that's the biggest platform, so not locked to it. A couple of these I'll be able to play soon. Metal Hellsinger VR is something I'm picking up. I don't know if I'll do Metro Awakening, but I did pick up a PSVR 2 bundle for Black Friday because the price came down to, $600 at launch. I was like, no, I don't play VR enough for that to make sense. But it's down to $350 at Costco, and it comes with a game, Horizon, which is $60, and that comes with a charging cradle, which is $50. So,
all right.
Really, $350 with $110 worth of stuff on top of it for free made it make sense. So
they're really needing to get rid of those.
Oh yeah. Well, now you can hook up to the PC, so eventually I can play Half-Life Alyx. Like, okay,
that's true.
That's what sold me.
Yes.
So all right, so I'm gonna go Asgard's Wrath 2. What do you think?
I think Asgard's Wrath as well.
Okay. Sounds good.
And now we get to best mobile game. For the best games playable on mobile devices. Don't have to just only be playable.
Yeah, that's really funny the way that is.
AFK Journey, I have no clue what that is.
Never
I'm
heard of it.
curious though. Baltro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. I have played Baltro and Zenless Zone Zero. I know what Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket is, which is not just the Pokemon Trading Card Game. It's a new modified version of the Pokemon Trading Card Game to be much more like Marvel Snappy, Hearthstone-y, like faster.
Exactly.
Wuthering Waves, I've seen images of, but that's about it. I thought it was a very... I could be wrong. I thought it was a Genshin Impact-ish.
That's what I think it is too.
Yeah. An AFK Journey, I don't know what that is. But like I said, I may just... It's AFK Journey. That has to be like away from keyboard thing, so there's an idle.
Yeah, I would assume it's an idle game. I'm gonna look it up right now because I'm intrigued by the name. Of these, I played Baltro, Pokemon, and Zenless Zone Zero. I know they just patched Zenless Zone Zero to get rid of that thing that I disliked the most about it, which was that computer hacking whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Heard on a podcast last week, and people were rejoicing that they got rid of that. But I have not experienced it myself. I'm not going back to that game. The Pokemon trading card game, I'm still in like the tutorial stuff, so it's just like, oh god, there's so much tutorial to it. I'm going Baltro.
Yeah, I'm going Baltro as well. I'm going Baltro as much as I can. God, that's a good game.
Yeah, it's a very good game. When I was reading through some of the things, my wife was like, well, Baltro, that's the game we played together. I was like, yes, it was. Ooh. AFK Journey.
It's really good.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it's amazing. Jesus Christ. I should play it on my phone. Why you make me sign in? AFK Journey looks interesting. The point of these award shows sometimes is to, I don't know, publicize some of these games. So this is something I'm learning about. But yeah, Baltro. Let's see here. Next, best debut indie game. Animal Well, Baltro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire.
These are great games.
They are great choices. Again, Manor Lords is not a 1.0, so
I wouldn't put it there.
Surprised about that. I'm glad to see Pacific Drive get a nod here.
Yeah, that's one I need to pick up and play. I've really, especially that it's by Pacific Northwest Studio up here. I don't know if they're where they are around the Seattle area, Puget Sound area. But the game is also set in Puget Sound.
Right.
And I should do that at some point. I mean, it's going to Baltro. Baltro still gets it out of all these games. Like,
going to Baltro by a mile, even though I wish Animal Well could get a nod here. Animal Well is
much love to Animal Well. You're not Baltro, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally right. It's nice to see a Metroid Brainia on the list here. But Baltro is just like, I mean, what more can we say about that game? We haven't said. I know. It's so good.
I know. I'm seeing it all nominated. I'm like, I could play more of it. I haven't played it a little bit.
Right. You gotta reacquaint ourselves with the games we're going to talk about for our game.
I know.
That's one of them. I'm downloading AFK Journey right now, though. So
just see what it is.
I am. It looks interesting. Cool.
So next we got Best Independent Game. Okay, so the previous one was Debut. And then Best Independent Game is for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Animal Well again, Baltro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. Lorelei is pretty cool there. Just because I like Simogo. I need to pick that up and play it.
It's a hardcore puzzle game as what I've heard.
That's what people at work have said. I just didn't know it was Simogo. And they're like, oh, this is like spiritual successor to Device 6 in a lot of ways. In that deep depth of puzzle. So for me, I actually in this category, it's either Baltro or UFO 50 wins. I would put Baltro, but if they're going to give a nod to something not Baltro, it's going to be UFO 50.
Right.
And it's this category.
I played 4 or 5 of these. I played Neva, UFO 50, Baltro, Animal Well. I played the most of UFO 50. I think they're all great. I know if I played Lorelei, I think it would be great too. I'm going UFO 50 just because of how monumental of a feat that game stands out to me as. Even though I think Baltro will win, because almost anything Baltro is nominated for, I think it's going to win. There is one thing I think it won't win, but we'll talk about that later.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm going to go UFO 50 here.
I would agree.
All right, best community support. We got recognizing the game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates / patches. We've got Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. Some perennial games on here, 3 of them at least. But I think Helldivers 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 may be the first times for those two here.
They are. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is getting it again. I think all the patches that they've done.
Well, the mod support too.
And now the mod support on PC and console.
Yeah.
I just feel like anytime Baldur's Gate 3 shows up, it wins. It just does.
Yeah, I think that's true. The only thing that, obviously, like No Man's Sky is crazy just because of how many fucking updates they have. But Helldivers 2 did something that others haven't done, where they turned the social media and the fucking, news and updates into like a meta piece of the game anyways. So that stands out to me. But
and if it comes down to innovation, it's definitely Helldivers 2. Like they're doing non-traditional things with their community support, which is great. The rest of them are pretty standard overall, and so I would agree with you. It's either Helldivers 2, and if an innovation piece doesn't win it, it's going to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's right.
But if I'm having to vote, I would probably vote Helldivers 2 just from an innovation standpoint.
Yeah, I would too. I would get my vote, even though I think you're right. Baldur's Gate 3 has a good chance here. And that's, my blind spot is I don't know what Fortnite's been doing lately, so maybe there's something amazing that I don't know about. Yeah.
Next we have Best Ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. We have Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. Pretty sure Destiny 2 and FF14 have been here, and Fortnite have been here before.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I wouldn't put Diablo 4 here overall.
Really? You would not?
No, I don't think they're doing anything that's like outstanding and ongoing. Mm-hmm. Like they're doing okay. They're doing fine, but it doesn't like rise to a level of yes.
Wasn't Loot 2.0 this year?
Oh, I guess so. Maybe.
I think my impression, at least from having played a little bit before and after, but the buzz around it is that
it was better. It was a lot better, and I played a lot of Diablo 4.
Exactly.
But again, like the last category, I think Helldivers 2 is actually doing the best with ongoing.
Oh yeah, I think that makes sense
by a mile. Because of how they're integrating all these disparate pieces of social media and storytelling together into a pretty unique experience. That gets my vote here as well. I think Helldivers is probably going to pick up a few of these. FF14 is just doing its thing. It's not.
Yep.
It's all like. It's always good. What they put out and how they support it and Best Ongoing, it's always good. Does it stand out as so much anymore? Not necessarily, but it keeps going. Like you, Blind Spot, Fortnite. I have no clue what they're doing. I know they're bringing back the original map. I know that.
They are, yeah. That's right.
They're doing that whole thing.
Same thing as
Apex.
Overall, well, Apex too. Yeah, I was thinking Overwatch, but they
all of them are doing this return to the original form, which will be funny when all those return to original forms are far more popular than what it evolved into.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, it's like the push pull of this whole genre, where it's like we need to constantly iterate and evolve to keep people's interest, but then you evolve away from what people liked in the first place. So yeah. Next up is Games for Impact, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. And again, every year I say the same thing. What the fuck does pro-social mean? But whatever. We've got Closer the Distance, which I don't actually know what that is. We have Indica. We've got Neva. We got Life is Strange Double Exposure. We have Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and we have Tales of Kenzera Zao. I know what I want to win. I would like Tales of Kenzera Zao to win for the amount of love put into that game and the unique storytelling that's there. But I don't know what will win.
Neither do I. I'm kind of stumped on this, honestly, because I haven't played these. I don't think it's Life is Strange. I haven't heard anything bad about it, but nothing that's like really like, oh, this is amazing. Or
I've heard mostly negative things, where the first 2 episodes are great and the last 3 are just terrible.
Wow. All right. There wasn't much talk or legs on Hellblade 2.
Nope.
Kind of came out and then it kind of went away. Exactly. That is Devolver. I should play it. I have it.
It's great. I'm halfway through it at this point. I should get back to it.
I'm sure it's not long. I've heard that.
No, it's 6 hours.
Yeah. Indica looked interesting through screenshots and stuff. I just never like what type of game is it?
It was about a nunnery or something.
Yeah, like the art style is, yeah. Third person adventure game. Okay. Maybe. But I don't know. I'm stumped on this one. I don't know what it would get. I would kind of agree with you with like knowing what went into Tales of Kenzera to get it made. And I don't even know what Closer to the Distance is.
I don't either. I'm interested in checking that out, but that's why these awards are nice. I'm so interested. This was, well, no, there are a couple of that have 6 as well, so it's not just this one, but there are 6 games here. I do want to check out Closer to the Distance. There's a dude with a guitar in the front, a couple of redheads, so you've got my interest.
It is listed, its tag wise is a life sim, narrative, story rich life sim. Slice of life sim that tells a deeply emotional story about the connections between family and friends in the face of tragedy.
Sounds like a me game. $20 on Steam.
Yep.
It's got only 100 reviews. Damn.
Yeah.
It's amazing that it got up here. That's cool.
When it came out in August. So
August, yeah. It says similar to games I played, Venba. Okay. Well, I loved Venba.
Okay.
I'm adding this to my wish list. Boink. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna win here. But I'll just put a vote for Tales of Kenzera.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Next is innovation and accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that's pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. We have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. I actually don't know about what new accessibility features a lot of these games have.
The only one I know about is Prince of Persia, which has a lot of ways to increase, decrease enemy health, your health, making a difficult game more approachable.
Okay.
Not sure about accessibility. Approachability for sure.
Sure.
I play the Veilguard. I couldn't tell you what's in there, what their accessibility settings are.
Diablo 4 I played, I've been through them many, like they have a bunch of options in there for little things you can turn on, off, for all different levels of accessibility, and just ease of play. I know like people can play Diablo 4 like completely visually impaired, no problems. Like there are people that do it just crazy, so they definitely have a lot in there. But yeah, I don't know what Black Ops 6 does in this or what Star Wars Outlaws is doing.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia, why not?
I'm going Prince of Persia. There's only because that's all I know on this one.
Yeah, and none of these games promoted it that much because I remember like when like Last of Us Part 2 came out, they did a lot of showing. Like, look at all of the accessibility stuff you can do. Before Last of Us 2 came out, that was kind of like my bar when people have accessibility settings, being like,
exactly,
let us show you and show off all the things that you can do and change. And a lot of these games just haven't done that. Yeah,
that's right. Tis true. Cool. Next one. I'm gonna move on to. Is it me or did I read the last one?
Did I do that one? Oh, no. This was you.
Okay. Best performance awarded to an individual for voice over acting, motion and or performance capture. We've got Brianna White, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and we can stop reading, but I'll keep going. Hannah Tell from Life is Strange Double Exposure. We've got Humberly Gonzalez, Star Wars Outlaws, which I've heard she's really good in that game, actually. Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2. I've also heard he's really good in that game. And then we have Melina Juergens, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. Obviously, she's very good as well. Biased. I'm going to go with Brianna White.
Yeah, same. As I turn my head and look around and look at my signed
exactly
little card.
I think her Aerith is so good.
It's so good. It is. Even in remake, it was such a great take on that character that kind of cut through a lot of the like even my criticisms with the character from the original and how because you're just reading text then, but the way that she brings that character forward has been nice. It's very true to what the character was, but in a much fully fleshed out presentation.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, she is Aerith to me.
Yeah.
And the mannerisms, I don't even know, it's like precocious, like naive, but not at all naive. Yeah. Like it's just very, very good. Playing for 2.5 hours today and I don't know, at some point in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you go on a date with a character, and I don't know what chapter that's in.
I think it's toward the end. Okay. I think that's where they're gonna put it.
Okay.
It's not when you're first at Golden Saucer in the original game. It's
okay because I went on a date.
It's later, and I'm pretty sure it happens towards the end of this game.
Okay, because it was it was with Aerith, and it was just some very cool little interactions in that very terrible chapter. But anyway, I'm going Brianna White. It sounds like you are too. Yep.
Okay. And then we get Best Audio Design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. This is not music. Astro Bot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
I think there's a pretty easy choice here.
What is that for you? I
think it's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
I'm wondering if it's that. I feel like it's that or Silent Hill 2.
Good point.
They're similar, but I mean they're very similar in that their ambiance and like the audio really reinforces the feeling of the game more than the other games. Like it's not like Astro Bot has bad audio at all. It's very cheery and bouncy and great.
The only thing that makes Astro Bot
to the actions you're doing.
The only thing that makes Astro Bot stand out beyond what is just like an amazing sounding game is the interaction between the sounds in your controller and the sounds on the screen. But I still think Senua's Saga. I mean, I played it just for 2 hours or so, and it's just it's amazing.
I mean that's kind of what it's known for. Exactly.
That's why I think it's gonna stand out here, even though I don't think it was received that well. Like you said, it kind of came and went.
It would get my vote too. But none of these are bad sounding games at all.
No, not at
all. And then next we get Best Score and Music. Astro Bot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Refantazio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. To me, there's only 2 games here that I would actually consider for the vote.
Me too, and I wonder if they are the same games.
Probably. Well, for me, it's 7 Rebirth and Metaphor.
Yeah, for me, it's 7 Rebirth and Astro Bot.
Astro Bot's music's great.
I keep listening to the soundtrack on my commutes. It's so good.
I think I'm going to give it to Metaphor for me.
Yeah.
Not that like 7 Rebirth is really good, and a lot of the music is really great rearrangements and orchestrations of music that already was great to begin with.
Right.
Metaphor is just new completely, and that battle theme, oh my god, it's so good. The monk chanting really and like
that actually I think you're right. That makes it stand out so much because that battle theme is something you hear a ton.
Yeah, the monk chanting part is through so much of that music in that game. Honestly, it's just a pretty wild musical take, especially from the person that wrote the music for Persona 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
Going, I'm doing this now. And you're like, what is this?
I can see it winning. And for Game of the Year, that's the medley they put together, right? The songs from Game of the Year. So we're gonna see that battle theme.
That's gonna be cool.
Very cool.
I'm very excited for this. My son typically has a music concert for the last many years. Always follows the same night as Game Awards, so I never get to watch them really live. But they moved it from the 12th to the 10th, so I can actually watch this live now.
Oh, awesome!
I'm so excited.
Like for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, for many years.
That's very cool.
But yeah, this one, basically I would even say Astro Bot's music is very poppy and very fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's the first 3 here that I think have a shot at winning, and the other 2, I don't think Silent Hill 2 or Stellar Blade really win.
Yeah, they don't stand out to me. I mean, I didn't play Silent Hill 2, so I can't say that actually. But Stellar Blade, I played many hours of, and it didn't stand out to me. I'm going Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just because, the 2 Astro Bot and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are the things I continue to listen to. And pay to go listen to concerts of at least Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, we'll see though. I think you have a good point. Metaphor is brand new. Final Fantasy VII is built off of great old stuff. Next, best art direction. Right? Is it my turn to read?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Best art direction for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Astro Bot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Metaphor Refantazio, and Neva. Lots of good choices here.
Yeah.
Where I want to give it is Metaphor. Where I think might win it is Wukong. And that's just because possible. Of how amazing the graphics apparently are. Although I've never played it, so I don't know.
I mean, I've seen screenshots. Like, that's the thing. I'm like, this is artistic design and animation. It's not even the tech. It's just like, I don't think, to me, Black Myth Wukong, like, it looks like a high fidelity Unreal game. Like, that's just what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Nothing, it's not bad in any way. It's like, very well detailed, but it's not. Its art style doesn't send me anywhere of like, oh, it's doing something new and crazy. I would probably give it myself personal preference to Metaphor, but I don't know if Metaphor is actually going to win this. I mean, how can you not give it to a game that has monster designs based on 1400 Netherlands artists, Dutch artists? It's so weird. Actually, but the thing is with it, the Metaphor thing, there's enough of it where I'm like, oh, it's nice and everything, but I can see where they cut corners. I don't think there are definitely places in it when playing it where I'm like, oh, that's pretty bland. Background, different points and things. So I don't think it wins in the end. I think it might go to Wukong, just because it looks nice, even though I don't think it has a strong artistic direction to it. Astro Bot is very clean. I really enjoyed Astro Bot's mix of different worlds and how that all works.
Well, they did a really good job of integrating the different Sony special levels. Yeah, this is hard. There's all of these deserve to win. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna tip towards Metaphor.
Yeah, same. But I will not be surprised if Metaphor doesn't win this category.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, we have Best Narrative.
Oh my God.
For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Refantazio, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. I can tell you that Silent Hill 2 should not be here. They didn't change the story. They expanded a little bit, but it, as far as I know from people at work talking about who love the game, they're like, no, it's the story that you know. And that's a good story. But I might want another game in here that is new. And this weirdly, the same thing can be said with Rebirth, but having played Remake and Rebirth, they're just wild and different.
They are
So
very different. Yeah, I'm
like, that's a divergent story completely. So
I think the problem that people have had with Rebirth, and since we're almost in the same spot, the fact that it's so little story spread over so long of a time,
so much, yeah.
Like I'm 32 hours in, and it's like we need to find Sephiroth. We need to follow the hooded figures to find Sephiroth. Okay, that's all. That's where we're at. Like that's all we've got. For me, it's what makes a good story, what makes a good narrative is so subjective that any of these could be good. I buy the argument that Silent Hill 2, if they haven't changed the story, then what the hell is it doing on here? But it was a game this year that had a good story, and people can nominate whatever they want. I'm just pissed, and this is the one category that I'm pissed off about. I'm pissed off that 1000 X Resist is not on here.
Oh, was that this year? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. That should be here. This is the category for that game, which tells me enough people didn't play it.
Yeah.
To put it on this list. It just blows my mind that it's not here. I thought for like with a bullet it was going to be here. And it absolutely was not. And that's, I've absolutely put it above Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for where I'm at least right now. I would not put it above Metaphor or Senua's Saga. And Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, the way that it mixes, it brings Kiryu back.
Yeah.
Along with Ichiban, I'm sure that makes sense. But God.
in the Like a Dragon way of making sense.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people who are into Yakuza. I know you do too, who like felt really emotional about how they did this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just
for me, it's Metaphor. For me, I think that story was. I thought it was gonna be. It's crazy, and there's a tightrope that it's walking pretty. It's pretty hard for what they're doing. And they pulled it off in a way that I didn't find what they were doing stupid or pandering. So that's pretty great.
I think I would pick Metaphor of these 5. So
we're getting close to the end. Here we come.
Here we go. Best Game Direction. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. We have 6 games here. We've got Astro Bot, we've got Baltro, we've got Black Myth Wukong, we have Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and we have Metaphor Refantazio.
Creative vision and innovation.
I mean, God, if it's innovation, I would go Baltro.
I know. Kind of. Innovation in game direction and design. I'm like, Baltro is the only one here truly doing real innovation in its design. But I don't think that's. I think this becomes a popularity contest more than anything.
Shit. Well, if it does, what's winning then? Just a lot of these are popular.
I think it's Astro Bot.
Think so?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's Final Fantasy. I don't think it's Metaphor.
No. Yeah.
I actually don't think Shadow of the Erdtree. I could be wrong. I think Shadow of the Erdtree is not going to really win much in the end.
Well, especially, I mean, depending on when the votes are happening, because I know the juries who nominate are the juries who are voting, or maybe that's not.
Yeah, right. I don't know how that works. I don't know their process, but I wouldn't. I think having an expansion here, having to have that conversation of should this be here at all, probably keeps it from winning in the end. I could be wrong, and people would be like, no, it's just good. And it's more Elden Ring. How is it bad?
Right. The direction of the first one was good.
Yeah. But I wonder about like Black Myth Wukong as being like a dark outside vote gets it. I don't know though.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, creative vision, I can see that for sure. I'm not sure about innovation.
Yeah.
But I mean, Astro Bot makes sense, especially again with the Sony mix levels and how they brought back Loco Roco, but they also did a fucking Horizon one and God of War.
Yeah.
Uncharted. Yeah, Astro Bot. I mean, honestly, I think it should be Baltro, but I think Astro Bot wins.
Yeah, I would agree. And then we get Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. It's the same list from the last category.
Exactly.
It's Astro Bot, Baltro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Refantazio. I don't think Baltro wins this. It would be hilarious if it did, and I would love it. Just to have that kind of like outsider, like indie one dev person being like, yeah,
I took down the giants of the industry.
Yeah. If Erdtree wins, it's this. Is my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think it's going to win this.
I think it's. I hope it's Astro Bot. Honestly,
this is interesting because there are 4 games on this list that are probably in my top 5 of the year. So it tips my hand a little bit, but it is Astro Bot by a fucking mile. It's not even close. Astro Bot is like the total package. There are pieces of, of the limited amount that I played of Metaphor that just are fantastic and better than anything on this list. There are pieces of Final Fantasy VII that are fantastic and better than anything on this list. Same thing with Shadow of the Erdtree. Same thing with Baltro. Only one I haven't played is Black Myth Wukong, but I know it stands out visually. Astro Bot does everything. It has puzzles. It has secrets. It has the art design. It has the homages to PlayStation, which is really cool. It has the family-friendly gameplay. It drew my daughter in to stick with the game, who my daughter exhibits the same gaming ADD that I do. And both of us were just like glued to this game. And I, coming back to it for the speed runs and, even just playing a game with my family tonight, just like what a special experience September was playing this game with my family. And myself, when I was doing my own file. It's my favorite game of like the last 5 years.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, it stands out incredibly to me. And I loved, I loved watching Alan Wake last year. I didn't play it, but I loved watching it.
Yeah.
I loved, a lot of the games that have come up as number 1 for me, Tears of the Kingdom, et cetera, et cetera. But God, I mean, I'm also a fucking platformer freak.
Sure.
That's my favorite genre by a million miles, but it just does everything. And it's so, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I think you said it earlier, like some of the things that it adds to the mechanics that maybe it'll do it once or maybe twice and it's gone. Yeah, there's just nothing about this game that is wrong. It's got everything. So I think it's Astro Bot.
Yeah,
I'll be fucking sad. I will be sad if it's not Astro Bot, even though the Baltro, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII, Metaphor, for me at least, they all deserve to win this too. But God, I would like be devastated if it wasn't Astro Bot.
Yeah. I think it's Astro Bot unless there's like this weird Dark Horse thing to get Baltro in here to just say solo dev drops Mike against all of these.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool to see.
That's it.
Yeah,
but I don't think it does. But I think they're all very good games. Yeah, it's quite the list. We have a couple weeks before we know, though. What is this?
Yeah, what did you say? You said the 10th or 12th?
The 12th.
Okay.
So it's 2 weeks roughly from when we're recording this to when they air. And kind of the crazy thing that I'm excited for is there hasn't really been any leaks or anything of like what's actually going to be shown for previews or anything like that. You can make some guesses. I bet there'll be a GTA 6 thing there and some of these upcoming games, but I'm like, okay, show me things, show me new things.
Well, and that's, dear listener, what we're going to focus on next week is our guesses for what we're going to see at the Game Awards. Because certainly the excitement of what wins, and I hope they give more time to some of the bigger awards for people to talk. We'll see.
It sounds like they were. I thought there was a thing that I read that was like, hey, all awards are going to be done on stage this time.
I could be wrong. Okay. Interesting.
I thought I had to read the award process. Winners are selected. Yeah, our voting out list. I'm looking at the. No, I don't know. I thought I saw it in a FAQ or something somewhere where they talked about like, yes, we're going to actually like at least put all of the awards, like, I don't know if fully on have people come on stage, but like make sure that all awards get at least their big announcement on the stage, as opposed to last year where sometimes the previous years they've skipped through some of them.
Exactly.
I thought they gave out some before the show in previous years too, before they even started streaming.
They did during the pre-show.
Yeah, I think they're like not doing that.
Let's actually respect what this is about.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited though. It's always a fun time.
Oh yeah.
Even if I can be cynical about like, oh, this how much is this an award show as much to hyping up things coming out, but that's just what it is.
Yep.
That's how it sustains being a thing and getting an audience. So
we're at a time where really just finding joy in anything is great, and I'm not going to second guess it. So I'm happy. I'm looking forward to this. I want this joy. So, well, very cool. Do you want to talk about anything that you've been playing before we get out of here?
No, I'm good actually.
Okay. We will dig into that in the future. Next week, I'll be able to talk about my adventures with PSVR 2. So yeah, let's save it till then. Looking forward to it. Well, if you like our podcast, my friends, please rate it on your podcast service of choice. Tell a friend, and we will be back next week to predict what we think will be showing up at the Game Awards in terms of announcements. We will see you next week.
Later, everyone.